Hello fellow watercolor artists, welcome back to my channel. I am playing with greens. This is the second part to my Wicked Greens. I love playing with greens and I love the movie Wicked, and so I thought why not combine those two. So anyways, what I'm doing is I'm swatching out my convenience colors. Convenience colors are green or purples, like any kind of colors that have two or more colors that are mixed together, so you don't have to mix them. So greens, most of the secondary colors are convenience colors, and I sometimes have to be reminded of why I bought a tube of paint. And so this is me swatching out my colors, and each one totally different, and there was a reason why I bought them. Right now is Hooker's Green, and it's one of my favorites. I actually love that color so much for florals. But I wanted to just kind of like play with my greens and get an idea. This video is also going to help you kind of think outside the box for greens and how you could use them maybe in your watercolor cards. So stick around, there's lots of fun ways to play with your greens. But most of the greens that I own have a deeper, rich green to them. I do love having darker greens. I also like when I'm swatching, I will lift up the colored so I know that I can lift up the color, and you can see that the deep sap green from Daniel Smith will do that. Cobalt turquoise is not necessarily considered a green, but when you put it next to greens, it does have a quality of green to it because there's some green in the turquoise, right? So I will consider cobalt turquoise to be blue or green depending on the where I put that color, right? Watercolor is transparent, so turquoise can be very green at times. Phthalo green has a lot of phthalo blue in it, and so I like using that for oceans and for landscapes. I have to be very careful though. Phthalo green is very potent and very much in your face. And then Cascade green is one of my absolute favorites. It is a color that Jean Haynes uses a lot, and I put a lot on my papers, so I am dabbing it off a little bit just so I can get that beautiful color. But these exercises of just swatching your convenient colors really helps you understand what greens to use for what subject. If I'm painting a landscape, Undersea green is always my favorite. If I'm painting florals, I will probably reach for Cascade green and deep sap green. In just a minute, I'm going to be sharing with you how I like to use color in a mindfulness way, and that's coming up right after this. But I wanted to just ask you, if you found this to be helpful, to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Watercolor mindfulness, I actually have this beautiful book from Lisa Solomon. It's called A Field Guide to Color. I highly recommend it. I got this idea of doing this watercolor mindfulness exercise from this book, and how we just we're going to put some color down and then it's going to remind us, that reminds me of this, or that reminds me of that. And so it's a great way to teach art to new beginners. And if you're a nature journaler, you can do this. Maybe you took a walk in your garden or out in a park, maybe a national park even, and you just wanted to document something but you don't know where to start. Start with color. Anyway, so for this watercolor mindfulness activity, you're just playing with color, and I actually wanted to play with how colors mix with each other. So I have a very bright green and a very muted green, and let's see what it does together. It's really quite lovely. I'm going to put in this beautiful Oxide green, and I'll put that in right next to here. And I just want to see kind of how it blends together. And then once it blends together, I can also say, well, this reminds me of this and this and this. And I'll just make a list of names. Not a whole lot of thought, I guess, is going into it, but it is kind of fun. This is Cascading Green.
And every time I play with it, I can't tell if it's more blue or more green, but I really love it. And this is a Pthalo Green. It's really pretty. Kind of has this meridian feel to it. And I just want to see how the greens react with each other. Maybe I'll use this and this for foliage. I don't know, but I'd like to think that I would. Here's this really pretty olive green.
I thought I would speed up this video a little bit and just kind of walk you through the process. So as I am mixing with my different greens and just playing around, really this is a playful activity and a way to like keep your mind off of things and to just really focus on the colors that are on your palette and going onto your paper. It should be fun. It should be like exploratory, and you're not thinking about, oh, I'm coloring outside the lines or it doesn't look good, because it doesn't matter. It's just supposed to be fun. And the more that I do these experiments and exercises like these, the better my art becomes, because I can take like maybe a blue and put it like that Colbolt blue and mix it into that yellow green, and then I get this beautiful green that I never would have gotten had I not have spent time playing with my colors. So part of art is all about playful exploration, and that is what I'm doing here.
Now this is just greens. What happens if I add blue or yellow? Like the opportunities are endless, right? Maybe I'm gonna add some of that meridian in with that beautiful sap green. And what am I getting? Ooh, a very rich dark green. And so I would just keep going on and on through my paper, and once it's all dried, I might even just go up here and say, well, this reminds me of lime. This one reminds me of, oh, begonia leaves, begonia flowered leaves. This one reminds me of almost like moss. And this reminds me of sea green. This one reminds me of a mermaid's tail. And that one is very similar to this one, but maybe this one would be called forest floor. That reminds me of like a rainforest. This reminds me of a maple leaf. This one can remind me of, shall I dare say, poison ivy? And this one reminds me of, what does this remind me of? I love the granulation. Ooh, maybe I will say jade. Maybe this one reminds me of just a garden. Garden green. These remind me of raspberry leaves. Ooh, I'm thinking this reminds me of like backlit leaves of some sort, but maybe we'll do zest. This one is so subdued that it reminds me of the ocean, shallow green pond. where koi would be. And then this one still reminds me of like the forest. So maybe this reminds me of redwood trees, redwood leaves. They're pretty dark and they don't let a light in. So anyways, you could keep going on and doing wonderful things with this, but I enjoy doing mindful exercises like this to help me with my colors. So then it's just a rich experience that helps my art grow as an artist. Try it sometime. I bet you will love it.